From America's heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. Now on the Gary Russen program, true news. News that's not in the mainstream. And the Zika virus starts our news for this afternoon. A developing story as Zika virus continues to spread worldwide. In Dallas County's health officials and human services on Tuesday reported nearly a dozen cases here in the area of North Texas. There's no one who contracted the virus in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, though. Even if the United States and any local cases have cause for concern. There are 10 pregnant women in Dallas County who now appear to be displaying the virus. However, the Centers for Disease Control Prevention will not confirm any diagnosis until their babies are born. The Obama administration and churches in California officially subjected to a state regulation that requires them to pay for abortions, thanks to a ruling by the Obama administration. Troubling situation began in 2014 when the California Department of Management Health Care reclassified abortion as a basic health service under the Abortions Act in order to call all insurance plans in the state to begin covering the surgical abortions immediately. Even churches are not exempt from funding abortions, and churches filed a lawsuit against that regulation last October and has been moving through the courts. And in other news this afternoon, we're going to cover a story of a ticking time bomb, and the San Andreas Fault is rising and sinking with seismic and other earthquake news. It looks like there is earthquakes in Oklahoma again, raising tensions in that state. We'll be talking about that throughout the afternoon on GJRB Online. News you don't get anywhere else. True news. News that's not in the mainstream. This is GJRB True News. I'm Gary J. Russen. Seems today no broadcast can survive with just audio alone. GJRB on Spreaker will always be there, but now GJRB has gone visual with the GJRB YouTube channel. Subscribe today and see live streaming of the Gary Russen program, Way Out There, Sports Page, and radio and television classics. Also, many other specials along the way too, including a video version of News and Comment and a video message from Pastor Ron Johnston from Christian Community Fellowship Church. Yes, GJRB is now visual. Subscribe to the GJRB YouTube channel. It's free. Just log on to YouTube and type in Gary Russen in the search engine. Coming soon. Watch or listen to GJRB on the new GJRB website, GJRB TV, on YouTube, on your computer, on your TV. Subscribe today. And in other news this afternoon, earthquakes seem to be the situation. San Andreas Fault. For the first time, scientists have produced a computer image showing that the heat sections of that California is raising and sinking around that fault. A vertical movement in the result of seismic strain will be ultimately released in a large earthquake. This could happen and released in a large earthquake. The San Andreas Fault in California is the longest earthquake fault and one of the state's most dangerous. In other sinking parts around the fault, in a way, is ongoing, and they're very susceptible to extremely slow. Some vertical movements make a lot of sense, but California sits on the border of two gigantic tectonic plates, the Pacific and the North American, and they are constantly grinding on each other. So there is cause for concern there when it comes to earthquakes on that San Andreas fault line. And we'll be talking about that this hour on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online. And one more out in Oklahoma. Speaking of earthquakes, Oklahoma's in for two. They've been reeling from a 3.3 quake that was recorded near Alva, Oklahoma. This was on. Just this morning. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, this quake was recorded at about 5 o'clock. The epicenter is located 16 miles northwest of Alva and 64 miles northwest of Woodward. There's been no reports of any damage or injuries. Gary J. Russen, GJRB News.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else. Clone.
Hey, all right, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
After 1 year, the wait is over. Now join Pastor Ron Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust him and listen to the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast or live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Next news at the bottom of the hour. In Robin's place, you're covered and informed. Now it's time for the Gary Russen program, discussing what's in the news, sports, and other things happening in the world. And now, you can talk to Gary live at area code 563-613-4260. In a sea of lies and deception, this is the beacon of truth on internet radio. This is the Gary Russen program on GJRB. Yeah, that's right. Another show is about to begin. Hello, everyone. Hello, everywhere. Across America and around the world. Across the internet. Across social sites. Welcome. Welcome to the Gary Russen program on GJRB. And we got a great show lined up for you today. Got a lot of stuff going on. How you doing, everyone? Back on the air with another edition of the Gary Russen program, and I'm glad to be aboard with you today. Got a great show lined up. We got things ready to go. I got things far. It took me a while to get this thing together again, I'm telling you. But here I am, back in the air chair for another edition of the Gary Russen program here on GJRB. And, well, got a lot of really interesting things to talk about today, and I'm hoping maybe we could all get together and have some fun and talk about some news and all that, and get it together with that. I want some program note before we get started. I needed to talk about this real quick. There's some program change notes that I have to talk about. First off, next week we had a schedule for Rock Worship on Tuesday, the 28th. June 28th, that has changed. That show is now canceled. We're going to push that show into July. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm planning on moving a lot of programming around in July, and we're opening up the whole month of July and August. Now, what that means is, and I'll talk about this on my GJRB Schedule Update podcast, which will be re-recorded tomorrow, that I'm going to be opening up the month of July, which means July will be a regular program schedule like any other time. That means all the programs in a regular schedule, which I'll post to you on that podcast. I'll also do a video of that later on. You will see that it'll be the regular schedule, and I'm going to be adding some programs that were canceled in June. That would be Gary J in the afternoon, which was supposed to air today. And Way Out There, which is canceled, will be I'm gonna have an additional Way Out There show like we did back in January and February, February and March rather. I'm doing an additional Way Out There show, which is going to be on the air on, sometime in sometime in July. I haven't really set and scheduled it yet. I haven't put any of the rescheduling in yet. So that's going to be all TBA for now.
On GJRB with new shows and returning favorites and more longer broadcasts.
Okay, where is that coming from? Oh, I know where it's coming from. Wait a minute. Hang on a second, folks, while I stop this a minute. I got to stop this a minute. Okay. Didn't want that on. It played all the way through. I'm sure you probably heard it. My other player was going, and I forgot to hit the DJ off mic on there, the automation. I forgot to shut it off, so it kept on going. Anyway, like I said before, if you hear double talk there at the beginning, that is me talking to myself. But anyway, so a lot of program changes are going to be made here, and I wanted to get them across to you before we got started on our program. That there was going to be some program changes, and I had stated them before so that you're aware of them, and set your calendars up. Like I said before, we're changing a lot of shows for now, but we're going to be on the air, and remember, this is Freestyle Summer, and that means that all programs are subject to change and can change. And tomorrow we'll have our GJRB Schedule Update podcast, and I will sit down tonight and plan out the schedule and get things rigged up. Like I said before, there'll be 2 way out there's in July, and a Gary J in the afternoon, all coming up in July, in addition to what we have already got planned now. Coming up in a couple of weeks, I got the final stuff to do yet on it, but July 4th weekend, on Friday, July 1st, we're going to be doing Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics. We're going to go on the air that day. I believe it's at 12 o'clock noon for some up-and-coming favorites, some of the stuff we play from past up-and-coming shows. And then right afterward, I will be on the air for Gary J's radio, television, and movie classics. And I know you love that show. Classic tracks from old TV, trivia like Up the Yin Yang. So you're going to want to check that show out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love doing it. I really do. I love doing this show. So we're going to be doing that. And then on the next day, great broadcast day. Great broadcast day. We start at 12 o'clock noon, and we play 3 hours of nothing but old-time radio. Got The Shadow, the Escape, The Whistler, which is 3 classic shows, Lights Out, and some classic comedy. I have some classic detectives. So you're going to love this show. Old Dragnet episode. And we're going to wrap it up with X-1. So that's coming up. It's going to be a great show. Old time radio. I love it. And then right afterward, we're going to be doing The Crooners. And I've got a lot of stuff I'll be playing. Some rare stuff from Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr. So it's going to be a great show. I hope you'll tune in. The Crooners. All the way up to Andy Williams. I'm going to play Andy Williams. This is going to be a good show. The Crooners. On that brand new show, it's going to be on July 4th weekend, Saturday, July 2nd. Okay, I believe that's Saturday, July 2nd. July 3rd, I'm taking the day off, and I'm also going to take off the 4th of July. So I'm going to take that day off, and some of the programs that are scheduled in July, including the Positive Rock Show, Emerging Tuesday, I'm going to postpone that show, and I'm going to be putting that on at a different time. So like I said before, I will give you the program schedule as soon as I am finished, and that will be tomorrow when I record the GJRB Schedule Update podcast, and that will be uploaded on our Spreaker public site this weekend. So you'll have a chance to listen to the schedule, and then I will post a video on the GJRB TV YouTube channel, and I will have the video version of it with a description of the programming, and that will be available to you as well, so that you can have it for yourself and for listeners, for all you listeners on GJRB. So you want to be prepared for that, and we'll have that for you. All right, how was your day? I had some interesting schedule. It's been kind of an interesting day, start to say the least, getting things started here. And yesterday, I wanted to say I'm sorry for the terrible cracking noise that was the CCF church services yesterday. I don't know what happened, but apparently the audio needs to be adjusted at the church sound system. So I'm going to be working on that one. I don't know exactly what happened, but the audio was really bad. And it was all on one channel, and it was very, very scratchy. Sounded like you were listening to a service over a shortwave receiver instead of local. You know, it was really terrible. And I want to apologize for that. If you don't want to listen to that service, I understand, and we'll probably be taking it off today. As a matter of fact, I think about taking it off today to make room for this program. So it might not be on for very much longer. So if you want to listen to it, that's fine. But if you don't, I understand that too. It'll be available on the GJRB. It'll be available though on the GJRB YouTube channel. So if it goes off here, you can get on the GJRB YouTube channel, subscribe, and listen to it there. And it'll also be available on my SoundCloud later. Also, the GJRB schedule update will also be available on our SoundCloud so that you can pick it up there. I'm pretty sure you want to make sure of that. We have weather on the 5s. I had some interesting weather in the news coming up too, which I know you're going to want to hear. I talked about it yesterday on my show. Apparently in Australia, they had a hailstorm, and after it was over, it looked like snow fell. It was really weird. This was in Australia. And I don't know if that's rare to them or not, but pretty weird, to say the least. So we're going to be talking about that today. Also coming up, I have a lot of other stuff I want to talk about, so we're hoping to stick around today. The Gary Russen program on GJRB. And if you like our program, you can stay here. I will be doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to be posting our show all over the place this afternoon. So if you want to get on the air with me, great. I'd love to hear from you. We'll talk. Have some fun. We'll even open it up because today is Friday and today is Wednesday, and that's our semi-private, semi-freestyle show, meaning that it's a show that's freestyle, and but anything can happen on it. So I'm doing that, and also let's see. I'm also going to be working on some other things here. I have a lot of other ideas for our programming, so I'm going to be talking about them this afternoon. And I hope you'll stick around. We've got a lot going on here. The Gary Russen program on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. Across America and around the world, wherever you're listening on the internet, you've got the show. The Gary Russen program on GJRB Online on Spreaker. I'm glad you could be with me today, and I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're listening to the program, and I hope that you can tune in all day long, whichever you're doing, and join me on this program. Love to hear from you. If you have a lot of stuff you want to talk about, hey, we got it here on GJRB Online. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a program break, and then be right back with more. The Gary Russen program coming up. Stay with me. Watch. Pray. For we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy. New World Order. Terrorism. Economic collapse, wars, pandemics, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org with a lot of chaos happening. Keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB.
is going to be hot on GJRB with new shows and returning favorites and more longer broadcast days, featuring new shows with rock and roll oldies for the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Introducing the Crooners, featuring great singers like the Rat Pack, Perry Como, Andy Williams, and Frank Sinatra. GJRB has a new music format based on the old up-and-coming show, playing consistently on GJRB. Gary J in the afternoon, Bluegrass Jubilee, Gary J's Blues House, all back. It's a freestyle summer, starting in June on GJRB. Seems today no broadcast can survive with just audio alone. GJRB on Spreaker will always be there, but now GJRB has gone visual with the GJRB YouTube channel. Subscribe today and see live streaming of the Gary Russen program, Way Out There, Sports Page, and radio and television classics. Also, many other specials along the way too, including a video version of News and Comment and a video message from Pastor Ron Johnston from Christian Community Fellowship Church. Yes, GJRB is now visual. Subscribe to the GJRB YouTube channel. It's free. Just log on to YouTube and type in Gary Russen in the search engine. Coming soon. Watch or listen to GJRB on the new GJRB website. GJRB TV on YouTube, on your computer, on your TV. Subscribe today.
This is Michael J. Martin, and you're listening to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online.
And back, Gary Russen program on GJRB Online and Spreaker across America and around the world, wherever you're listening in the Spreaker Land USA here at GJRB. Gary J. Russen with you on the Gary Russen program, getting things ready. We got a lot to get into, and we're going to get in here in a few minutes. We got some news headlines coming up at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to take a little break and then be back on the air with some more great talk here on GJRB, and invite some listeners along the way too. So we're going to get started on GJRB Online here on Spreaker, and we'll do weather in the news, which I do right now. It's something we just started, where I talk about weather stories that are significant in the news. A lot of stuff that pretty weird that goes on here, and weather in the news. That's what we do here on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB. I don't have it on there, but I have a story about that. A hailstorm here somewhere, so I'm going to go ahead and try to find that real quick. It came out of Australia, as a matter of fact. The story is talking about a rare hailstorm that hit Australia, and it looked like there was snow on the ground. Is that serious? Is that weird? This is in Australia, folks, as we do weather in the news. And what unusual there. Outbreak in Australia. It hit wild hailstorms on Friday as the cleanup continues. Residents have been reeled by this. Weird, wacky weather over there. Locals posted pictures on social media of wine coolers filled with hail. It looked like sandcastles built there, remaining ice, and cans of beer thrown on ice to cool down. Photographs went to show this freak weather. Now, Australia looks like Australia is not used to this, and this is unusual for them. They're not explaining exactly what happened, but in and around the Todd River usually sits, let's see, let's go down a ways here. This is along the Todd River. Now they're showing us some of the pictures of this. Wow, it's like, I guess ice storms like that exist. I mean, this probably happens. but they're not used to this kind of weather. That one picture, let's see if I have it. The one I was talking about was the one along the Todd River there, and I lost my place after that. But I was looking at pictures of this, and I'm going to save these pictures, and it will be on our video version of the Gary Russen program. Wow. They never saw something like this before, and there's like videos of this too. A lot of pictures here. Homes flooded, trees uprooted, and cars crushed by this, by what they call the Alice Springs hailstorm. One social media said, and wow, weird. I'll be talking about this throughout the day. I'm gonna find more details on this, but it was called the Alice Springs hailstorm, and pretty weird. All right, we're gonna get into that, and let's take a look at that. For most of you listening in our GJRB online in the Midwest, a lot of interesting weather there. We've been having some unusual type weather in the Midwest. Wow, we're talking disturbance, which is over a long front installed over the southern plains and mid-Atlantic states, will serve as a focus for a mechanism for strong, severe thunderstorms, and according to our local forecast, we're expecting to see some of that too. Possibility isolated tornadoes as well. This is in the desert southwest. With extreme heat continues, heat and humidity will increase in the south and midwest later this week. And we'll give you a temp update, and we'll look at that here coming up on the Gary Russen program. So stay tuned for that. All right. So we're going to do that. And right now you're listening to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. And the forecast, unusual, and we've been having some interesting storms right here. Wow, we're going to talk about that coming up here as we continue the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online. Hope you enjoyed the program. Stick around. I got more coming up as we continue the Gary Russen program, and more coming up on GJRB Online. Welcome to another edition of the Gary Russen program right here, right now.
The wait is over.
After 1 year,
The wait is over.
Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust Him and listen to the last 7 days.
Uploaded as a podcast or live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. We all run a busy schedule, and maybe we don't have time to catch the Gary Russen program. Well, here's the solution. The best of the Gary Russen program, highlighting the most memorable parts of recent shows. Each podcast I will play clips of previous shows and talk about them. Watch for podcast uploads during the GJRB's podcast weekend on GJRB's public site on Spreaker. Reflecting on the past memories of past shows. The best of the Gary Russen program on GJRB.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else.
Hey, all right, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
The mainstream media is not telling you the truth. They have their own agenda. At GJRB, I have mine, telling you what's really going on with sources like End Time Headlines, InfoWars, Coast to Coast AM, and most importantly, CBN News, keeping you on top of what's happening at the top and bottom of each hour during the Gary Russen program. I'll give you the news and analysis of what I think with Gary J's News and Comment. Get the real news. True news, News that's not in the mainstream on GJRB.